Hi, everyone. I'm Alan Rosen. And speaking of resilience, I just got a notification on my phone for a tornado warning here in Seattle, which I have to admit is my first one. So if I fly away, you'll know why. And if I do, we'll have a good story of resilience for next year, I guess. But I'm joined here with Luca. He's our senior data scientist, and Natalie from Alaska Airlines, who is the managing director of advertising and marketing. And we're here to talk through a case study that we did together. It was really a unique project, focusing, starting with a marketing data warehouse, doing some lifetime value analysis, and ultimately activating in search ads. And Natalie's here to talk to you a little bit about the challenges here that Alaska faced and the need for resilience.
Hi, I'm a little nervous because I'm also in Seattle and I did not get the tornado warning. So you're getting a heads up that we haven't gotten here. So as many of you know, when COVID happened, it impacted a lot of businesses and in particular, the airline industry. And we saw a huge decline in that in our business. It essentially disappeared overnight. All in all, went down 40% over a period of time. And so we relied on our partners. We reached out to partners like Google to help us understand what was happening out in the world. How were people feeling? How were their approaches to travel? And our partners at Google did an amazing job of giving us regular trend updates about how search behavior related to travel was happening. And we asked them to help us do more. And so one of the things we had been talking about pre-COVID is how we could use machine learning to become smarter about the way we target. And they brought us this opportunity, an idea to build a predictive lifetime value model, and they introduced us to Adswerve. So that's a little backstory of how we got to this place. And now I'll let Adswerve dig into what we actually did.
Yeah, thanks. It's a really kind of interesting space as we talk through examples. I've seen a lot of examples, and we've helped a lot of clients doing lifetime value, predictive lifetime value within the Google Cloud platform. And we've helped a lot of clients in using value-based bidding in DV or search ads in the Google marketing platform. We don't have a lot of use cases out in the industry that are tying the two together. It was really interesting for me. I don't know if you guys caught Wynn's presentation earlier on custom bidding, but you could see how easy it is to turn that on. But getting to the value that you should use for this can be a little difficult for customers. And they're often, we often advise customers to use something that's sort of directionally correct and kind of easier to implement that does help with performance. So things like last purchase price, or whether customer is part of a loyalty program. We can tell, like, even as we describe it, it's not fully optimized. And so we were really excited to be able to help Alaska here to get that full value, that holistic view of a customer. And so before we get into some of those insights, Luca is going to walk through all the data engineering and data science that's required to do a project like this.
Yeah, so the project started with an exploration of available data sources. As is typical with these type of cases, data was siloed in different locations and owned by different teams within Alaska Airlines. So we began identifying those sources and looking at what would be additive to a flyer persona. And that's what we wanted to use to improve bidding and to work on. The data sources that we ended up using were web and mobile analytics data, and that was from Adobe and Google Analytics. As well as data from a customer data platform. We used Amperity, and that provided additional data about flying behavior of users and some additional demographics information about users. Once we decided on what data we could use, we utilized Google Cloud Platform to bring it all together in one location, and that was within BigQuery, which enabled us to begin to actually start working with the data. As a more technical side note here, we find ourselves more and more often approaching similar import problems as extract, load, and then transform, rather than a traditional ETL. BigQuery offers this cheap storage, and it also allows us to very well connect our data engineers with data scientists. So as we're transforming the data at the same time, we can still look at the raw imports within BigQuery. So just a little side note that ETL is being, at least in a lot of our cases, replaced by ELT. But now with data in one centralized location, we began cleaning it, creating features that we thought were significant, and calculating users' lifetime behavior. We looked at many different analytics dimensions and behaviors, as well as demographics data about our users, and try to correlate those and find which would impact users' future flights the most. By using BigQuery ML, we were able to quickly develop machine learning model, and then we just continuously iterated on it and optimized it to get better and better lifetime predictions of flyers' future flights. Once we had each step in place, once we were able to basically manually execute it, we automated the process and had it execute daily. Those predictions were then sent to campaign manager, and then from there, Adswerve and Alaska's media specialists were able to create strategies, how to best utilize it, and how to use those predictions to improve metrics such as return on ad spend. As you can see from this, there are multiple skills involved in the process. We start with data engineering, continue with data mining, machine learning, end up with media activation, and having the right and diverse range of skill sets in the team is vital to bring all the little pieces together. And Natalie will let us know a little more about that.
Yes, there are a lot of people that are needed to pull something like this off. And in a company like Alaska Airlines, and probably a lot of brands, people who traditionally sit in these data roles are not intimately familiar with marketing technology and don't exactly know what you're trying to achieve. And so it creates really challenging conversations. Around the same time, after we had just finished this predictive lifetime value model with Adswerve, we started an initiative internally across IT, e-commerce, and some other groups to build a different type of model. And it was a night and day process of having the data expertise that Adswerve and Google brought to the table versus us trying to do it on our own. So we're learning from our mistakes there in how we can do a better job. And Alan, I think, will go into a little bit more.
Yeah, and so as you can see, even from the slide and what Luca talked about, the different expertise that can be needed for a project like this, we always laugh in the industry as you see those job descriptions that ask for people who know all things, basically looking for that unicorn. And what we found here at Adswerve, helping our clients, it really is that diverse team that's needed, and being able to have that team that has historically worked on projects like this, being able to pull them into projects really helps break down those silos, not only in the data, but also across an organization. But with that, we always love to talk about how great our team is in these case studies, but the best and most exciting parts we find to talk about is the data itself and the insights we were able to pull from that. And so Natalie's going to share a few of those that she's able to.
Yeah, given that we did this during COVID when business travel was essentially non-existent, we were able to get some really interesting learnings about leisure travelers that I don't think we would have gotten at any other point in time in history. And so one of the most interesting facts that came up was that first-class flyers had a lower predicted lifetime value model. And there are a lot of hypotheses for why that is. Mainly, people are not flying very often. And if you were flying, you might be more conscientious about the space around you. And so first class seats make sense. You're buying more room. But there were nuggets like that were really interesting. And as the model gets smarter, we're seeing things that can help influence decisions that we make, particularly as it's related to mileage plan membership and what role that plays and what stage we should be promoting mileage plan. So it's really fun to see the model refresh and understand these dynamics that we hadn't necessarily considered before. And it paid off. We saw some great results. This was from the first 6 months of the test. We saw a 30% increase in ROAS for O&D campaigns. O&D means origin and destination. So that's a body of work that our amazing search leader does of the non-branded search. And so we saw great improvement there. And we, over time, saw that we generated $1 more in revenue per click. So overall, very strong numbers. It created a lot of confidence within the company for our ability to pull off this machine learning model and to run a really profitable SEM program. And so we will now we're working on applying this model to other channels to take it out of search and put it into email, other paid advertising that we will run. And based on this, we also instituted some ongoing offers, particularly around mileage plan and ensuring that we're pushing people to join the program and book their second flight as quickly as possible, because traveling twice was a great indicator of their potential likelihood for profitability. So it's been a really fantastic model for us to have, and I think it's a great asset for our brand now.
So thanks for having us, Google. Natalie and I are speaking at another webinar tomorrow with Google, talking a little bit about privacy and first-party data, if you'd like to join. And if you have any questions at all about any parts of this project, we love to talk about it. So please reach out. Thanks again, and have a good rest of the conference.